flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Please silence phones, pagers, other electronic devices. Item number 1 is citizen concerns. Is there anybody who would like to speak on something that is not already on the agenda?
We have good news already. I believe it was a week or two ago, Chief Wingert presented you with a check and said that we were short some, but there would be some coming. We did receive those checks. That was in reference to the project that we were involved with the state of Iowa sharing medical records. So I have 2 checks. Each check is for $11,250. So there's $22,500 more to present to you. Okay. Thanks. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else with citizen concerns not already on the agenda? Item 2, approval of the agenda. I will move that.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. Anything to discuss prior? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Items 3 through 5 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 3 is approval of the minutes of the April 20 meeting. 4, approval of claims. 5, human resources, approval of memorandum of personnel transactions. B, authorization to initiate the hiring process. Approval of, item C, approval of retiree request to remain on county health, dental, and vision plans. Item 6, secondary roads. Approval of resolution setting the interest rates on drainage district warrants during fiscal year 22. And B, approval of resolutions for drainage district tax levies. Looks like Mr. Nera has something he wants to say.
Well, this is separate from your consent agenda, isn't it?
We have the Wolf Creek next,
Okay.
after we approve this.
No, I've got nothing to say. I proposed for the resolution it would remain at 5%. That's where you guys have been since about 2014. So that is still your desire.
Is that on item 6B or 6A?
6A and 6B aren't on the consent, though.
Oh.
6A. Yeah, I didn't think they were on the.
No, they're not.
Oh, we did. I go on too far.
You jumped ahead.
I will move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Now I'm unconfused.
Now,
That's why I was.
that was on me.
Because I thought you were ready to go on that.
That was on me.
That's all right. Resolution establishing the interest rate. Again, I set this at 5% as you've done in the past. The board is free to change that if you choose to.
I would move it at 5%.
I will second that motion by Monson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
That requires all 5 signatures.
Item 6B, approval of resolutions for drainage district tax levies.
First one is the Orton Slough. We're proposing 0 this year. They have adequate balance to cover anything that we expect to come out.
I'll move that. We do these individually, correct?
Yes, we do.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Next is Smoky Hollow Drainage District, also proposed at 0.
I'll move that.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Weber Creek, proposed at 0.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Wolf Creek Drainage District proposed at $20,000. This is to cover the additional expenses that will be the local share of the FEMA grant provided to them for damage that occurred during the March 2019 flood.
I'll move that.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt.
For the board's information, that's the same levy they had last year. Last year, they were paying engineering expenses. We should be able to recoup about $9,800 of their engineering expenses, it looks like.
Does that money go back into your budget or come to you, or how does that come
It does not
back?
come to me. I would pass that through directly to Wolf Creek if that comes in.
Okay.
We're trying to get management expenses from FEMA, which would go back to pay back their expenses that they accrued with having the engineering staff come out there, fly the drone, and locate all the damage that we used for preparing the plans.
So they wouldn't get a negative levy the next year?
Probably not.
No, okay.
Yeah. Wolf Creek has another issue that we're probably going to have to work on later this summer, which is the clean out of Wolf Creek. So they won't be in negative figures for a while, I'm afraid.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Bennett McDonald proposed at $0.
I'll move it.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Smithland Drainage District proposed at $0.
Move it. Second.
Motion by Monson, second by Radig. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Wolf Creek Pumping District Number 2 proposed at $0.
I'll
move it.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Wolf Creek Pumping District Number 3 proposed at $0.
I'll move it.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
Anthon Central proposed at $100.
I'll move it.
Motion by
About $20 a property is what it's going to come down to.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes.
Maple River Drainage District proposed at $0.
I'll move it.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Started with you and let you head it.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
And then Dennis and I have both signed off on the summary sheet. All of this will be sent to the county recorder.
All right.
Next item up we have is the aforementioned contract and bond for. Oh, you've got a 4:35.
Yeah.
I will get out of your way.
All right, we are at Board Administration Public Hearing and Sale of Property at 15, also known as 1510 Myrtle Street. We are now in a public hearing. Is there anybody for or against this sale that would like to speak? This is not the same as bidding on it, just so you know. So we are here in the public hearing for or against. Is there anybody that wishes to speak?
Hearing none, I move to close the public hearing.
Motion by Monson, second by DeWitt to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. We are now taking bids for those that might be interested in. Sirs, please approach the podium and give your name and address, please.
My name is Saul Leon. He's the one who wants to buy it.
Okay,
Just gonna translate.
okay.
Well, he wants to pose a bid of $232.
Heather, is that plus fees? Yeah. The fees would be,
$22.
okay.
So
No, the 232 is including that.
Oh, the fees are included. So we have a bid for 232? Okay. Do we have any other bids?
And what's his name then that's bidding?
Elias Reyes.
Okay.
Elias Reyes?
Rodriguez, yeah.
Any other bidders for the property also known as 1510 Myrtle Street?
I only brought $70 today, so.
I will move that we sell the property to Mr. Reyes for $232.
Second?
Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Thank you very much. Heather back there will take care of you from this point.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you, guys. Are we all done with item 6B then, Mark?
Yeah, we are.
All right, then we're going to recess the Board of Supervisors meeting and convene the Wolf Creek Drainage District Trustees meeting.
This is the aforementioned project for repairs and clean out of debris at the Wolf Creek Drainage District. This was the result of March 2019 flood damage. The low bidder on the project, to whom it was awarded, was Johnston Excavation for a total price of $168,148. I recommend approval of contract.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Monson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. We are adjourning the Wolf Creek Drainage District Trustees meeting and continue the Board of Supervisors meeting, so we are there. Mr. Butler, item 9, Board Administration. Approval of the Woodbury County nonprofit funding request for Siouxland Mental Health.
Okay, this is just a formality. They did fill out the application, which you have in your hands there, and they gave the reasons. The Friendship House showed how they're gonna spend their $6,788. They'd have to come back and show us they actually did spend that, and then the other part is for a one-time $30,000 to buy equipment that is being handled out there by the Siouxland Mental Health Center. Total project's $51,314. They'll use $30,000 to help cover some of the expenses there.
Anybody have any discussion on this? These are for Mark, the erosion stuff.
I'd move the approval.
Motion by Radig, second by Wright. Any further discussion prior to the vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Abstain.
Passes 4-1, one abstention with Mr. Monson. Pat?
No. Did you say 4-1?
4-1.
4-0.
4-0, I'm sorry.
One
Okay.
abstain.
All right. Item 10 is Board of Supervisors. We need to, with Mr. Gill's instruction and leadership, we are going to need to decide how many. Due to the 2020 census results, it is likely there will be a need to redraw district and precinct maps. We need to approve a fixed number of appointees for redistricting and re-precincting. In the past, I think, Mr. Gill, we've done three per census. Do we need to figure out who those are today?
No,
Okay,
Did it
it's
4
not on
o'clock.
the agenda. The agenda just states there,
all right, and we have to have this done by what date, May 15th?
yes.
May 15th. I would advocate that we stick with the 3 appointees, as that's been done in the past, and move forward thereby.
I would agree with that, and just looking at the areas that really is under the purview or control of these 3 people, it's mostly all rural Woodbury County. It's not gonna be the city limits except for when they determine the supervisor districts. I just think they're dealing with an area that's pretty much 80% Republican. And it's not really gonna matter how much you slice it out there, so.
So I will move for 3 appointees.
I'll second that.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Wright. Any comments, questions, disagreements? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0.
How are these selected?
That's a good question for Mr. Gill. Please remind me, I didn't bring the sheet with me.
We get to pick 2, and then the Democratic Party chair gets to pick 1, is that right?
That's correct.
And they can be a board member, so.
And be a board member. I wouldn't recommend that this year.
When have we followed your recommendation, Pat?
Right. When have you ever listened to me before?
Why would you not recommend that, out of curiosity?
Just that it's, well, Mr. Monson's not there, but you have 5 Republicans, and the way that where folks now live, looks like there's going to be, it's just going to be different to put it all together. They're going and I don't know who's all running for re-election, but you and Mr. Wright are less than a mile apart, and the other 3 are less than 2 miles apart. So just so that you're not, there's a list of things that you can't consider.
Where they live.
Where you live, that's number 1. So it's just, in the past, the last one was Al Sturgeon, myself, and Dave Tripp, who was on the board at that time. So it has occurred before. And I believe, I don't remember 20 years ago. I was on there, but thing that's going to happen this year is, I think I already told you, but they're going to get the numbers probably past the period of time that the legislature will actually drop the plan, but the Legislative Services Agency is the one that draws up the congressional districts. That's the first thing that they do. And then it would be normally to the legislature, but they are not going to get an opportunity to vote on it because the figures are going to be delivered so late. So it will be the Supreme Court that makes that, probably make that decision, and they will use the same agent, the Legislative Services Agency, to draw the map. And then they'll hand it to the legislature, and then I believe the legislature has the opportunity to weigh in it at that time. I think they can actually draw maps again after that. And then it comes down to, once they do that, they do all the legislative districts. And when we do precinct lines, what is done in the past is they still use pretty much the precinct lines that we have, but for the legislative districts. But within those you can change, within those districts you can change. And that's where it's going to take place. We have a lot of growth out in Whispering Creek. Precinct 28 is where a lot of the growth has taken place. So it gets, you have to do a lot of figuring there. And what you're looking at, the smallest geographic area is a census, I forget what the terminology is, but they're little census blocks is what they are. And that's what you have to use to make up the precincts. The city actually
Gets to do that.
does that, but they have always just deferred to us, and whatever I take to them, they approve for precincts. Precincts can't be over 3,500, so that's why you have to change some of those. And then once the precincts, we kind of work back and forth between the precincts and the legislative districts. Plan 2 counties do not have to follow precinct boundaries, but we've always done that just to eliminate the confusion as to where people live. You can just much easier just say, these are the precincts that are in that supervisor district. And we've been able to work within the standards that are established that you have to meet. You can't have a lot of deviation. So that's what they do.
From my understanding, though, is if they did change these district boundaries and say, well, you're in precinct 6, right? Or, yeah, precinct 2. So if precinct 2 ends up in district 1. You're district 2. I thought you were precinct 6. Oh, precinct. Yeah, so like his precinct ends up in my district. Because the district boundary changes, he doesn't have to resign his position. He can serve out his term as the District 2
You
person.
serve out the terms, but
But
they're
then,
thrown in together.
right,
Both positions are up.
right. So when District 2 then would be up, if he wanted to run for it, he'd have to move to the new District 2, or somebody else would be available to run for those positions in District 2.
When do we get the numbers from the census?
It's, like I said, it'll be beyond September. I think the end of September they're looking.
I'm curious to see where, Whispering Creek, obviously a lot of growth, but I could imagine Sergeant Bluff had quite a bit of growth with all those apartments as well.
Sergeant Bluff did have a lot of growth. The last year, the last time we did it, we split Sergeant Bluff in two in order to get the under 3,500. I don't know what the population is now. Do you know, Mark?
Last I heard it was like 4,700.
Yeah, so I think that there's still.
They could still remain as 2.
Is this something we're gaining anything on by talking about today?
No.
Then let's
Just
move
for
on.
informational purposes.
We have moved on then to reports on committee meetings.
Had Siouxland Mental Health board meeting this week. Last month, they increased 201 clients, which is tremendous. They have a full-blown pharmacy that did give COVID shots to all the employees, and they've opened a clinic in Mobile to serve the rural. They're moving. That's it.
Mr. Reddick, Mr. Wright? Anything? I do have a Rolling Hills meeting tomorrow. Once again, we're going to get to talk about the sale of the real estate, also known as the Crisis Center up on Division Street. More to follow on that. No true idea what we're going to do with that at the moment. It is kind of opined that this might be a bad time to be with the legislature hinting around what they seem to is dissolving the regions and going back to a statewide run basis. Maybe it would be a bad time to own real estate. So that'll be discussed at length tomorrow. Past that, round 2 of citizen concerns.
I have a question of Mr. Woodman. Going back to item number 9, the abstention, they have to declare a conflict on an abstention, or what?
The member should state the reason for the abstention.
It was on the application. I'm the board chair.
Mr. Monson, the board chair.
Siouxland Mental Health.
Okay.
It's round 2 of citizen concerns. Seeing none, hearing none. Item 13 is board concerns. Obviously, the big news is Iowa District Court for Woodbury County ruled that our lawsuit against Sergeant Bluff Luton Community School District has been found in our favor. It's going to be Still a little bit of time before we move forward, but that is good news that we can finally start making some repairs. I'm sure Mr. Nara will be speaking to Mr. Butler and I very soon on getting things sorted out and plotted and planned for some of these roads that are in pretty desperate need for repairs. I think that's all for me. Do you have anything?
Just say for the meeting, it's 25 more days.
I do not know.
30 days from when it's filed, so they have about 25 more days to go. Then they exhaust their appeal rights. But our attorney's gonna go visit with their attorney and say if they can speed this up a little bit and just say, we're done.
Good information.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I did want to just at least let you guys know that I had talked to our congressman's staff in Washington DC about the earmark process and the jail, and what they believe is that this is not the type of project that would fit in this current classification of earmarks for community projects. The request would be probably more than $1 million for an earmark, and they're looking at earmarks of maybe 700,000, 800,000. So it doesn't really, they didn't really feel like that met their what they were looking at. I also had a call, and you probably discussed this with Goldberg Group about mental health services in the jail and the new design and the potential to maybe partner with somebody moving forward with that.
I remember that it was discussed about having something on that property. I don't honestly recall if it was in that particular structure. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it would be like at least adjoined or utilizing the same Sally port, but it would probably go either a different direction from that building or it'd be a building of its own.
Yeah.
There is the Project Compass that goes in there.
I'm gonna say that it's just been such a wealth of information coming through and ideas and such that I don't remember who I might have discussed that with. But yes, I do remember it coming up because of and at one point, simply because the crisis center was gonna be on the market. And I want to say that I might have had a conversation with someone from Siouxland Mental Health on that thing too, but when we were looking for options.
Well, he's gonna put something together maybe in July or August, and it would be at Shane's, what's the company called? I can't. Baker's conference room in Ankeny, Iowa, because the consultants that work on the mental health side are out of Wisconsin, and he's out of Missouri, and it's just kind of a central location for all the different jails that are looking at maybe these type of services. So they said if a board member would be interested in going from Woodbury County or anyone else, he extended that invite, and I guess I'll follow up if I get that date and time, and we can discuss that at that point. But
Yeah.
I just want to let everyone know that's on the horizon.
If you get me that information, maybe I can, you mean board member from here or board from the LEC authority?
Either.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be May 17th.
Oh, they already
I think
set a
so.
date?
That's our
I guess I didn't check my email since I got off work, but.
Well, something that we can look at, sure. Anything else? Board concerns? We are adjourned.